Hey guys, BigGunner81 here. So I want to talk a little bit about a tool I just purchased, and it's the Lee Precision 223 factory crimp die, and a little bit why I bought it. And I haven't tried this out yet, so we're going to kind of go through this process together. The reason why I was looking at adding a crimp to my ammunition is mainly because I'd like to loosely store my cartridges, meaning I'll put them in a plastic bag just loosely. They're not in a carton or anything like factory ammunition comes. And they do get jostled around and everything, and my concern with that is I don't want the bullet changing the seating depth here. I don't want that bullet going further into the case. That's going to be a bad thing. You don't want to have that powder getting impacted more than it's supposed to be. Could increase the pressure around and everything, and could be a big problem. So that's why I was looking at getting a crimping die, because the crimping die basically will kind of push in the brass around your lead projectile or around your projectile and help keep it in place. So that's why I was looking at getting it, and we're going to take a closer look in just a second here just to kind of see how to set it up and what's inside this little tube and everything they sent me. So we'll check it out. Pop open the little edges here. This is a nice little storage container too. May use that for that purpose. We'll see. So we got our die. That's pretty much it, all one piece. The center piece here does actually spin around. It doesn't seem like it pops out though. It's kind of like in there. This is the top. You can see the kind of knurling on it to kind of adjust the depth. And this is actually where the cartridge will go into and get the crimp, it looks like. So let's see what these this little piece of paper inside with these instructions and everything have to say. It says, Lee factory crimp die. Better accuracy with factory crimped ammunition. A must for hunting ammunition. Trim length is not critical. That's very important because sometimes my trim lengths actually vary slightly. So it says, crimp bullets in place just like factory ammunition. Roll crimps and taper crimps simply do not hold the bullet as firmly as factory crimp. A collet gently but firmly squeezes the very end of the case into the crimping groove, exactly the same as factory ammunition. The Lee factory crimper is so powerful that it even crimps bullets in place that do not have a cannulure. Well, that's kind of cool. You can even seat your bullets to the best depth. The Lee factory crimper forms a cannulure in the bullets as it crimps. So pretty neat to know. Basically, you don't have to buy the ones with the cannulure. That you can use a regular style projectile. And then it kind of talks about the uniform start pressure producing uniform velocity and how that's important, for accuracy and that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to bore you with all those details. So for me, this sounds like this will work just fine. Now we're going to set this up in the Hornady lock and load. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I already have ammunition I made up, and I'm going to go ahead and test putting these crimps on those rounds I already have made. Basically, you probably have seen other videos on how to do reloading and everything, and you're probably already doing it. That's probably why you're watching about this this crimp die. But it's a pretty basic idea. Looks pretty simple to me, so we're going to go ahead and set it up. Okay, so I went ahead and I installed the die in my press. And your press may be different. This is a Hornady lock and load. So I actually have these quick change adapters, the lock and load adapters, as you can see. I can just go ahead and pop it in there, and it's always going to be set up where I left it last. It's a nice feature about the Hornady setup. If you reload different calibers, you can kind of change over kind of quickly. Anyhow, the way this die actually works is there's a collet on the inside, this piece that's rattling around because it's kind of loose inside of there. And that collet, when the press contacts it, and you'll see when I bring the press arm up, or the ram up here, you can see where it's contacting it. It pushes this collet into the die, and then the collet has 4 fingers on the inside that squeeze around the neck there and squeeze the neck into the bullet. So basically, when you play around setting this up, I kind of follow the directions, but you're gonna have to play with it for your individual press because every one of these things is a little different, and you're gonna have to make adjustments based on how much of a crimp that you want. And I don't really want a real super tight crimp. I just want one that I can kind of see and one that's going to be effective, so that these bullets aren't changing the seating depth and everything. So, gonna go ahead and take a round that I had made up earlier, and for my pile of rounds that I was kind of showing earlier, and go ahead and run it through this this die. And go ahead and bring it up there. You can kind of see it entering into it, and you can see where it touches the bottom, and you can see the collet moving up into the die. Alright, so I went fully down with my press arm. So the ram came all the way up in contact with it, and I pull it off there. Okay, so this round right here I crimped once. And I say once because what I like to do is, if I'm going for super accurate rounds here, I like to have those little lines in the crimp kind of smoothed out. So what you'll do is basically put the round back into the crimp die after you rotate it about maybe a quarter of a turn, or maybe a little less than a quarter of a turn, so that those raised areas, those little lines, fall onto the fingers of the crimp die. Now if you can see this real well on the camera, now that crimp is nice and smooth all the way around. So I hope you enjoyed my little video about the Lee factory crimp die. Again, quick little tip is basically when you want to have a nice smooth crimp all the way around, is to go ahead and crimp it once, rotate the round, and crimp it again, and it'll smooth out the end there. It's a pretty nice little tool. So thanks for watching, and until next time, have fun shooting.